Okay, so I'm about to start putting this all back together. I kind of did a little bit. I put these arms back on here. It's fairly simple. The bottom one is obviously the one with the groove for the strut. Sorry, the groove for the strut there. It goes in right to here, and that's also the one that connects to your parking brake. And then the other one over the top here has it slides over the pin that comes from your lower arm there, the parking brake arm, and then this one here is the pin that is coming up from the shoe. And you put those clips back around, make sure they're flat, and get them around the stud there. If you have to separate them a little more, but get them onto there and hold them up against the stud from the back, and then crimp the two ends together like that is there. And then I did grease up all the points. The bottom points there are greased up underneath those three places that it's going to be sliding on the backing plate, but I greased up the backing plate, so there's that too. And I greased up the strut here. I'm going to grease up the ends when I put it in there, but I greased the threaded part, and I also put some grease into the other side where the two pieces meet right in here. And this piece didn't really seem like it had any contact points except for maybe a tiny spot on the back where that paint's at right there, so I dabbed a tiny bit of grease there. I painted where the struts are going to go here, and also also over here too, the same thing. And this one here I greased there. I'm not sure that that's gonna have any contact on the outside here, but it looked like it had made like it had been scraped a little bit, so that's why I put the grease there. And then along this inner edge here, I think it's just the part further up that is going to make contact. This part down here I don't think is going to make contact, but that's what's going to meet up inside there on that bottom piece. And I think yeah, it's ready to go. On here I put the moly grease on those 6 points around, and then I also put it on the that part back in there where the bottom of the brake shoes meet together. And let me go ahead and put this all together, and I'll be right back. Just something I wanted to mention: when you want to take this apart to grease it, you have to disconnect the threaded part here to be able to pull this piece out, and then you kind of have to maneuver it out around the side of the spring there, and then when you feed it back in, you've got to feed it in through the hole before you connect this part, or you won't be able to get it through the spring there. And then the other thing was on here, when you're connecting these arms, if you have like a pair of vice grips and you crimp down on the 3 pieces together there, then it's a lot easier to manage getting those clips in, because you don't have to hold the pieces at the same time as you're trying to get the clip in there. So hopefully that'll help you. Okay, so this has been a little bit frustrating. I keep putting this back together wrong. First I put it back with it just on the top pin here, but not on this pin. Then I got those back on and realized that I did not have the strut and spring in there. So the strut and spring you have to get in before you put this top piece on, okay? And it takes some wiggling it around, twisting it, and it's got to be just the right way. But once you get that in there and you have the strut, make sure the strut is on both the shoe and the parking brake lever under there. Make sure it's on both of those, and get the spring into the shoe. And then once you do that, you can put the top piece on. And then this is what I was saying about the vice grips. Don't put it on real tight, just enough to clamp it together, and then you can put your clips in to lock it in. These little guys right here. Just when you put those in, I found that when you put it there, if you just clamp on it with like needle nose or even pliers, it wasn't too hard to yeah, I'm on camera, so of course it won't work. But yeah, basically that's what you do, and it'll pop right on. And then once it's on, make sure it's all the way up, and then squeeze the two ends together to lock it in place. And hopefully you didn't have that many headaches like I did. Hopefully I could save you that time of doing that wrong. Yeah, don't do it that way. Okay, so it's been kind of a busy day, and I kind of let the time get away from me. The other side is back together. This side, basically what you're looking at is everything in reverse. So you see like your parts here, just the opposite side. So make sure if you do the hardware kit that you put everything on the right side. Your springs and things are going to be reversed from each other. So like this one here, the other side, the hooks would be facing the opposite way, so make sure you put those on right. This is how this whole setup is when it's together. Yeah, and let's see. Oh, I was going to show you the grime. If you look up here, you can see on. That's actually pretty good. That grease looks a lot better than the other side did. But like down here, you can see there's really nothing there. But up here, there's a little bit. Better than I expected. The other side didn't have anything either on any of these. There's some grease there too. A little bit there too. That looks, yeah, that's silicone grease. So while they did say that moly grease is the best, it looks like factories using silicone grease. So yeah, I guess you could use either one. It's up to you. But moly should be better because it's metal on metal sliding contacts. Oh yeah, get the tool. Don't be stubborn like I was. I don't care if you got a needle nose, like regular needle nose, screwdriver, you know a trick. The tool is so much better. You can push on it so much easier and twist it so much easier. It's night and day. Don't waste your time. It was even going to like your brick and mortar hardware store. I paid like $12, so don't waste your time. Okay, so I didn't really make a follow-up video at the end, so I'm kind of gonna do that now. Basically, when you're putting this back together, your first step is going to be getting the levers for the parking brake here connected. The one goes on the back side, and this one here on the front. And in between, sandwiched in between the two, is going to be your strut back there, and the spring, which is hooking right in there, right in the center there. So you have to make sure that you have the spring in there when you connect everything together, and make sure that you have both pins connected when you squeeze those clips together. Otherwise you're going to have to pull everything back apart like I did. So don't do that. The next thing, after you get that all together, you're going to need to connect the parking brake cable, which you know, since you took it off, it should be fairly simple to see how it goes back on. It just kind of hooks in and wraps around. I can't really get to it at the moment to show you, but if you look back through the video, it should be fairly simple to see how to do it. The strut, or the hold down clips was the next thing I did. On here, once I got the parking brake connected, I put the hold down clip on here, and I got that held down. And then over on this side, did this one here. Again, that tool comes in really handy. And then the strut, pulled apart the top and stuck the strut in there. Again, if you compress the strut as far as it'll go, it'll be easier, so that you're not fighting the pads so much. But and then hooking that spring over to that hole, it's quite a chore. There is a tool for that too. I don't have that tool. You don't have to have it, but I'm sure it makes it a lot easier. I believe that you would hook into the other hole there, and then the other side grabs onto the end of the spring, and it's kind of like pliers. It pulls it over, and you just kind of hook it in. So I'll probably get that tool soon, but for now I don't have it. So you don't necessarily have to have it, but if you want to make it easier, get the tool for that too. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it should be like spring brake spring tool, something like that. But in any case, once that's in there and connected, then the next place to go is down to the bottom. Make sure you put this arm in here. Oh, the arm you actually, I believe, have to put in before you put the pad in. I don't recall for sure, but it's not too hard. You just have to get it up over that back part there, and then connect them together there. And when you put this spring on, it's gonna hold that together. But before you do that, you want to do this bottom spring, hook it on one side, and then kind of wrap it around the back of this and hook it on the other side. Make sure that it's behind that tab there and not in front of it. And then you're gonna hook this other spring back here, and then up to that other arm there, and wrap it around. And then the last thing I believe would be this clip for arm. Return thing for the adjuster. Basically, this kind of locks the adjuster so that it only goes in one direction. That's really hard to focus in on, but it basically only allows the adjuster to go one way, so that it doesn't loosen back up. It just tightens when it needs to. And make sure that when you adjust the shoes, if you need to adjust the shoes, make sure that you pull that arm away from the wheel before you rotate the wheel upwards, because otherwise it's just going to jam it in there, and then your self-adjustment's not going to work. So once you get that in there, it just kind of tucks into the brake pad, tucks into the strut, and then across there, and the spring comes down to the hole in the brake pad there. And it sounds simple. It's not that many steps, but it can be quite frustrating because every step of the way you're fighting something, and it feels like you need a couple extra hands. On the adjuster wheel back here, if you can see, the locking mechanism there locks it so that it does not roll up from this side or down from the back side. When you come in through the little hole in the back there's a rubber plug. You can stick a screwdriver in there, and you can push this wheel so that it rotates upward or downward. On this side, you can see it'll roll past that lock, and that will actually extend the brake pads out, so make them tighter against the drum. So that's what you're going to do. Once you get it on there, you're going to rotate it all the way up until it's tight against the drum, and it has the resistance to where it doesn't want to move. And the resistance you're going to notice between the drum and the hub there, because the hub will spin because it's connected to the axle. So
you're basically going to look for that first little movement before it engages the hub, and once that doesn't want to turn any, that means you're locked up against the drums, and then you need to rotate this back to loosen up the drums just enough to where you have a very, very slight drag, almost to where they're not touching at all. And in order to do that, because this locking mechanism blocks that wheel from rotating up on this side or down on the opposite side, the way that you have to disengage that lock is you have to stick an extra screwdriver through that hole in the back, and it's tricky. You definitely want to get to where you can see what you're doing. There's not a lot there. A headlight sure would help to get to where you can see in there. Maybe even somebody else holding a light. But get the screwdriver in there and push that tab back away from you or towards this side, and then once that's pushed away, then you can rotate that wheel and loosen up those shoes a little bit to where they're just barely dragging. Now if you don't push that arm away, when you loosen up those shoes, it's going to jam that arm up inside there, and then your adjuster's not going to work. So make sure that you push that arm away when you adjust that, and everything should work good. So just a little bit loosened up, just enough to where there's a very slight drag on it, and that's pretty much it. Once you got the brake set like that, get both sides, and once you do your test drive and you back up and hit the brakes, that'll adjust them to where the shoes will be adjusted to the drum properly. So when you do your test drive, just start off, and if you're going forward, then take a break and back up and hit the brakes a couple times. Just make sure that they're set right, and everything should be good. Like I said, it's kind of a pain, but it certainly beats paying somebody to do it because it's not cheap. So if you have to do it yourself, or even if you just like doing this stuff, like me, I guess I'm a little crazy, I like this stuff, but if you like this stuff, then save some money and do it yourself, and you know that your stuff's working because you fixed it, and feels good.